roll call, Diane?
Okay, I got the names right this week,
You think?
I think. Keith Keller,
Here.
Chuck Parks,
Here.
Bob McCosy.
Here.
Ron Longo.
Here.
Pam Kabinski,
Here.
Peggy O'Keefe. Here. Diane McIntyre, here.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes for February 28th meeting and the March 14th meeting?
I'll make a motion, we accept both February 28th and March 14th.
I second the motion.
Roll call, Diane?
Oh,
Again?
Keith Keller,
Yes.
Get
Chuck
your money's
Parks.
worth.
Here.
Bob
Here.
Bob McCosy, Ron
Here.
Longo, Pam Kabinski.
Yes.
Peggy O'Keefe.
Yes.
Diane McIntyre, here.
Okay,
Yes.
we got a few correspondents here. Jim Hensel, Carol Flutterbach, Sabrina Stagnita, and we got a bunch of other names here. Are these names, are you guys going to talk on agenda items or just?
Non-agenda.
We're going to name them all then. We got Jean Sawicki, Judy Roberts, Victor Browse, Kathy Browse, how do you spell it?
Evans,
Evans, Gloria
Carnes,
Carnes, Vicki Mullen, Eileen Mamo, Carol Flutterbach, I already had her, Carol Lettinger, and Beth Culler. Okay. I'm sorry, correspondence. You don't have any? None. Okay, that's done. Okay. Board comments. Start with you, Keith.
None at this time.
None at this time.
Just have a couple things. Don't blame the sheriff out there. Chris and I were driving around yesterday, putting friendly reminders out about people that didn't have permits on their car, or they were parked in a guest spot, all right? So don't blame the messenger boys about doing it, because you got a friendly reminder. Technically, they can just put a red sticker on your car or have it towed. We don't want to do that, okay? And like I said, there was out of the 29 buildings, we only did this side of the complex. Tomorrow, next day, we'll go on that side of the complex. We 29 buildings, 25 vehicles were tagged. 10 vehicles in guest spots and 15 with no permits, okay? Like I said again, it's a nice reminder just to get it done, because people do forget. It's only a piece of paper thing on that. And will we be checking them again? So please, we don't want to tow you out. We don't want to put the red sticker on there, but you have to follow the rules and regulations as far as the parking. It's pretty simple. And if you're afraid to put a sticker on your car, see Chris, and he might make other arrangements for you. Put another, hanging one if necessary, only on certain circumstances, because when he rides around, he doesn't have to get out of the vehicle. And if you saw him yesterday, he was crawling under the cars trying to figure out where they were. I was a little worried with him. But like I say, and during the summertime, it goes for the summer people too. You can't park in visitor spots. The solution is a lot of people do leave and just get permission to park in their spot. Like I say, in my building, I think 3 or 4 of us leave, and if my neighbor says I want to park my car there, I have no problem with it. I don't think anybody really has a problem. But please, we reiterated this thing for the 3rd time, and like I say, it's just abide by it. Very simple. If you have any other questions or anything, let us know, or we might have missed the sticker. That's a possibility. I know the first time around we went last week, somebody had a sticker, but they had the tinted windows, and we couldn't see it, but we corrected that situation. Right? Okay, that's it. That's it for me.
Yeah.
Nothing at this time.
Nothing at this time.
I have a couple of things.
Okay.
The first one I'd like to talk about is the AEDs. I actually have done the research, and I have a couple of recommendations, but I would really appreciate it if 2 or 3 other board members would look at this information, and then we could make a collective decision as a board, and then Chris could proceed to purchase it. In addition, I have talked to ladies golf and men's golf and Chris with the opportunity that at one of Chris's meetings, probably we'll try it as a test this summer, to run a video of how to use it. And then I've asked, again, the ladies golf and men's golf to use one of their meetings. It's an opportunity to get more people educated on the AED. So I'm just looking for board volunteers. Okay, the second thing, actually, this is they're all nice things. This is a real plus. I actually was at a meeting this week for House Committee and Social Activities, and between the monies shared between the two committees and the second time around sale, we've been able to purchase tables and chairs, new tables and chairs for Under the Canopy that should be delivered when, Chuck, do you have an idea?
When it's going to be delivered? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
They said 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
Yeah.
So they're beautiful, they match the Monterey colors. I think they're going to be much more safe out there and comfortable. Again, those tables are over 10 years old. They've really served their purpose for us. So I'm really glad that House Committee and Social Activities could do that. The third thing I'd like to talk about is the grills. Again, I was at the Social Activities meeting and the House Committee meeting, and there were a number of residents that really attended even though they weren't members of the committee. There were multiple comments about the number of grills that, or the number of opportunities to not be able to be available to use the grill out here because in season, many more people grill. Now, I know we walk by it a lot every day, all of us, and say, well, nobody's ever there. But, you know, probably at 4 to 6, there's a lot of people there. So one of the recommendations that I would like to think that we could look at either through the board or through one of our committees is to add another grill out there. Again, I think that's something that we need to respond to. We are living in a community that is really much more active. They plan to come and eat under the canopy. They plan to have parties. And I do believe that we need another grill out there. The third thing is why all these ladies are sitting here. Apparently, we had, actually for the last 2 years, we've had Glow Ball done at the end of the season of Sweet 16. It's been very successful. We played 4 holes. There were people, either your husband or a significant other or a volunteer, that followed each golfer out there with a flashlight. So there was a lot of light. And then there was a little party under the canopy. I understand that you know, there was a kibosh put on that. Just like probably other board members, I got lots of phone calls and lots of comments. So I did a little research. Apparently, according to Angie Plamadon, who's been here for like forever, they did this in the past. So, you know, it's not a new idea. I also did some research in the local golf courses around the area and in Florida, and Glow Ball is an accepted practice. So I believe that we need to look at this a little closer. And my recommendation would be that we send it to mixed golf, because I understand there's both ladies who would like to do this and men. But I do firmly believe that we need to have some regulations and some structure to what's going to happen. So that would be my comment.
Diane, can I comment on that?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I just received this thing here. I know when I first came down here, Lyle Green used to have the night ball. That's what you're talking about?
Yep,
Yeah,
night
with the
ball.
little orange balls.
Yep.
We used to hit and whatever. If you hit in the water, you're out. But they glowed on that. My question was, is this, I think, in the proper procedure when these things come abroad, I don't think anybody has a major objection to. I personally don't. But did mixed golf sanction this too? I think a lot of the...
I think that I can answer that, Bob, because I think for the last 2 years it was just a spontaneous thing after Sweet 16. So that's why I'm making the recommendation that we send it back to mixed golf so that we have...
I don't think there, like I say, my personal opinion is I can't see any objection to it personally. That's my opinion.
Okay.
But like I say, usually they go through the sanction or we have the blessing of the mixed golf for proper procedure. And if they sanction it, it's pretty, you know, on that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd like to make a comment on it. Me and my wife did it last year, and I heard a lot of complaints about a lot of noise and a lot of drinking and a lot of this stuff going on. Well, you only play 4 holes. And if there was a party, it was under the canopy afterwards. And it's very safe out there. Everybody has flashlights. The balls aren't like a regular golf ball. They don't go the distance. They go about half the distance. And, I mean, I think it should be allowed, you know. Thank you.
Is that something that can be voted on here?
No, I believe it should go back to mixed golf so that we could get some structure to it, so that everybody in the future doesn't have to go through this, the anguish. Yes?
We purchased everything and it's been planned for the whole season. I don't know why we couldn't do it this year and then do the procedures like you want for the future. We've already purchased the balls, the people are all signed up, we're all ready to go. Can't see any harm in it. You all have said there's no harm, so
Yeah.
we would like to continue it this year, being it's already planned and ready to be carried out.
I mean, we can't vote on it here, but we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting. I mean, it's got to be voted on by the board, first of all. Am I right in saying that, Chris?
Yeah, well, it should,
You could add it to the agenda with a supermajority of the board. So if 5 of you right now say, somebody makes a motion that you add it to the agenda, or 5 of you approve that, you can
Fine.
add it to the agenda and
Okay.
vote on it now.
okay.
That's fine with me, we'll add it to the agenda. Let's vote on it. I mean,
Okay,
You
that's,
want mixed golf's input?
I'll make a motion that we put it on the agenda.
Input.
I
You
second
want
it.
to get mixed golf's input first?
Well,
I think this, Peggy is on mixed golf. Is there anybody else here that represents mixed golf?
yeah, you're on.
You're signed up, Jim.
Yeah, you did. Well, you can.
Jim Hensel, 12J. Thanks. We started not mixed golf. I was on the social activities way back. And social activities at that time started nighttime golf. And it was with the board approval. We did that 2 or 3 years, starting at 3 different locations, going for the full 9 holes, and having a party here afterwards. The board of directors at that time stopped us. Nile fever got to be a big deal in those days, and they decided that if we were going to be out there running around with the mosquitoes, we would get Nile fever, so they stopped night golf. But that was the history, and that's where it stands. The board of directors stopped it. The board of directors can start it anytime they want.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, so Bob made a motion to add it to the agenda. It takes a supermajority, so you need to.
You have 5.
Second it, so you need at least 5 to approve it, to add it to this agenda right now.
I'll second it.
It's already been seconded by Bart.
Okay.
So you want a roll
Go
call?
ahead. Roll call, go ahead.
Okay. Keith?
What are we exactly voting on? Just to put it on the agenda?
We're adding this to the agenda.
And then you can actually make a motion to allow global.
Okay. Yes, to adding it to the agenda.
Chuck?
Yes, I'll add it to the agenda.
Bob?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Diane, yes.
Now you can actually make a motion to approve it for this year and maybe add something to it saying that mixed golf will make the rules.
Yeah, in the
for-
future.
For the future tournaments or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept it for this year and send it to mixed golf for for regulations and rules to be followed in the future of playing.
I second it.
Do a roll call, Diane.
All in
Keith.
favor?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Diane, yes.
At least somebody's happy there, right? Hope their car didn't get towed, Chris.
Maybe you want cookies now.
We skipped, we got to go to the treasurer's report. Keith. which we went right over the top of it.
All right, no, we just went correspondence. Yeah, that's,
Okay, for the month of February, we have income of $302,243. As a caveat, we still haven't fully integrated our top system with our payroll system. So some of these numbers are going to be excluding payroll. We've had expenses in February of $165,213.48. Our operating cash available is $3,079,388.46. Our total year-to-date income is $602,771, and our reserves come in at $1,352,819.52.
Okay. Managers report, Chris.
Being that I had a
Keith,
month-long meeting yesterday, I do not have a manager's report for today.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's move on to new business. I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah, in the future, just give me a copy for the minutes.
Victor Bryce, 59. My understanding is that we we maintain a minimum balance of $150,000 cash on hand. That amount was given a lot less than that. What's going on there?
No, the operating cash wasn't 3,079, it was 379,388.
Okay.
It just didn't say 379,000. We have plenty of money.
Oh, we do? Oh, good.
That's my girls.
What about
Anybody else on that? No? Okay. Let's go to new business. Proposal from Finance Committee to hire a reserve study firm. I'll pass that down to you, Keith.
At the last board meeting, I was asked to get some financial estimates on doing an independent reserve study. And since that time, I've been able to get two. One was from Florida Engineering, it came in at $16,000. Another one from Association Reserves came in at $6,960. At the Finance Committee the other day, we discussed this, and I believe a majority of the Finance Committee did not support moving forward with this. I would probably be the lone member of that committee suggesting to move forward with that. There were a number of board members also at that meeting, and I believe they were also not in favor of moving forward to that, but those are the numbers that I was able to ascertain. A third company did approach me on Friday, and because of their business volume, they're not taking any new clients this year, but they could give us an estimate in anywhere from 1 to 8 weeks.
Discuss it. We'll start with you, Diane.
Well, you don't really discuss it unless somebody's going to make a motion. Unless there's going to be a motion on the floor.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion so we can talk about it, discuss it. Right, you made a motion to, I make a motion to discuss it.
Discuss it.
Correct, to discuss it.
I'll second
All
that.
right. I'll tell you, okay, you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll start.
The reason why, I just, like I said, the reason I want to accept it is, or get a proposal on this is, we attended the Finance Committee with a couple other boards, and we can throw our opinion out, but we really can't make any vote on it until we come here. Okay, the thing is that I've been on the board quite a few years, and from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, this reserve accounts are only paving, roofing, painting, and other items over $10,000, which my understanding is that we are following the formulas according to the state regulations. So in my opinion, I don't think it would be necessary to spend $16,000 or $6,000 for a reserve study, and that's in my opinion. That was the reason why that I went towards the other way. And I'd rather see that $6,000 spent for an audit before Chris leaves. And that's my standpoint on that. Now, if all the Finance Committee was 100% for it and said, no, we need a reserve study, then I might be leaning another way. But like I said, and Keith just said that, it's that most of the people felt comfortable in doing it because, in my opinion, the guy would come in and say, okay, go by the formulas. We're already doing that. I mean, and I know this year it came a little off a little bit, but in the 12 years I've been on the board back and forth, I don't think we ever had a problem. Did we, Chris, on anything?
No, we have never been short on any of our reserves.
And Jim Hensel would probably attest to that, correct?
And I put him to speak on that.
Oh, okay. But that's my standpoint.
Go ahead, Diane, I'll let you go next, Diane.
You know, I'll have to support the Finance Committee. If that's the way they lean, I support it. I do agree that we need to have an audit done prior to Chris leaving. That's a different audit altogether.
Peggy?
I'm not opposed to it. I've seen the reserve study. It's a great document for the community that lists all our components and everything. And the price on it, there's 2 different prices on it, and it can actually be paid through the reserves. Like I said, I'm not opposed to it. It's a good document, but whether the Finance Committee wants to recommend it or the board, that's the decision to be made. But I don't oppose it.
Pam?
I don't agree with it, but I do wonder, what was the logic behind thinking we needed it?
I can address that if that's all right.
Please.
Ron.
Go ahead.
There were a number of factors that I looked at when thinking about this, and one of the big ones was Chris's retirement. Much of the information that we have about our community is with Chris. We have some spreadsheets that explain our finances in terms of projecting costs for the reserves, but a lot of our information comes directly from Chris. This process would allow for a written documentation, the reserve study group working with Chris to really document what we have in terms of a history in our community, what we see as projected needs for the next 20 years. The other thing that Peggy mentioned is that this provides a written document that would be a blueprint for us as we move forward. The new property manager coming in is not going to have Chris's history. And it would be very dependent upon this. The study would be very helpful in documenting that. This low bidder also provides an online tool that allows us to manipulate numbers to see how we can best utilize the reserves. Those were some of the things that I looked at and thought about as I proposed this to the committee.
Thank you for that input. I'm still not for it.
Just what I written, I'm not to be argumentative, but the Florida state statutes, correct if I'm wrong, state that we have to follow the state formula for paving, roofing, painting, and other items over $10,000. And from what I understand, that's all they look at. They don't look at the restricted reserves. They don't look at any other reserves. They only look at the reserve accounts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So they don't look at any other ones but the
I
ones.
think they would look at the.
Oh, if you wanted to pay more, yeah, they'll do anything you want to do, yeah. But like I say, in all defense, you, Chris, I mean, Keith, I understand where you're coming from on it, but in my opinion, I don't think it's necessary at this time. Now, Jim Hensel, I think, is the one that did a lot of these spreadsheets. He could probably explain it better than I on different things. I don't know if you want to get involved in it this time, Jimmy?
Yeah, he's gonna, yeah. Chuck, do you have anything to say on it?
Yeah, I would. I think if the Finance Committee, doesn't want it, I don't think it's necessary. Another thing I have a problem with is the $6,000 versus $16,000. Low price doesn't mean good. So I think it probably would be the $16,000 amount that needs to be spent, and I think that's way too much money to do on it. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you.
I mean, I kind of agree with Bob, what he went through. I don't think it's worth spending the money. I'd rather put it towards a regular audit before Chris leaves. I mean, because we're gonna spend at least that $6,900. So, I mean, I'll let you go next, Jimmy or Sabrina. I know both of you want to talk about it.
I'm not sure a lot of people here recognize me. I haven't been here much in the last 6 years. This is my first full season. But I worked with the Finance Committee and with Board of Directors previously. And when I left, the reserves amount in the budget was $280,000. And I refrained or tried to for 6 years not to get involved in the business again. But I was surprised when I come back and still find it's $260,000, $270,000. I had expected with inflation and a better look over the time of what we have and how the costs of replacing some of the items going up. I expected our reserve request to be up around $360,000 to maybe $400,000. This is the first time with this chairperson it's gotten over $300,000. I heard about the idea of getting somebody in here, and at first I thought it was a good idea, and then I thought, maybe it's not such a good idea. I looked at the resumes or the way that the various companies that you're talking about do a reserve study. And I noticed the lower, the cheaper ones, they do a reserve study pretty much like we do. They look at the state law, they tell you how much you should do, they go out, they check your records, when you last did the roofs, the streets and everything, and they tell you what you should do, which is exactly what our Finance Committee does. The higher cost ones, $16,000, I don't know what company that was, but I looked at some that were up around $16,000 to $20,000. They do an engineering survey. They come out and look at every single roof. They give you an estimate of what the roofs are going to last, what the roads are going to last, and like you said, Mr. Director Parks, you get what you pay for. The $6,000 one, it's a waste of money. If you want to spend $20,000, you can do that. But I think we have 9 reserve items. Yes, like Director McCosey says, we have the 4 that the state mandates. Not only that, they tell you how to calculate them. And we used to do inspections. Remember, Chris, every once in a while we would get somebody in? We still do. Okay, those inspections should give us an idea what the current cost to do the repairs. We do that for those items that are required by the state. In addition, we have the reserves that are there for the board's use. Those are listed so that they cover every single eventuality that could possibly happen in our association property. Maybe what we ought to do is reevaluate the price of replacing some of these things and maybe repairing some of these. We've had a lot of inflation just over the last year, let alone the last 2 years. I'm not sure we need a new study. I just think maybe a little bit more emphasis on what the actual costs are. From the Finance Committee, we already have, who are a bunch of great people, and they know what they're doing.
Okay.
Thank you. When Keith first brought up the idea of having an independent, I'm Sabrina Stagnita, 41E, and I'm chair of the Finance Committee. So when Keith first brought up the idea of having an independent reserve study, I thought, maybe this isn't a bad idea. I had an open mind about it, and he discussed it, what they were going to do, and he thought it was a good idea for the new person, the new property manager that would be coming in to have a written document. I thought, yeah, that would be nice. And maybe in my head I was thinking they will give us some maybe pointers and maybe help bring something, an idea up, or something that we can do that we haven't been doing. So I did think it was a good idea. And then I asked him, how much do you think this would cost? And he thought probably around $2,000, somewhere around there. So I thought, yeah, that's not too bad. And then when he came up with the amounts, one of them is almost $7,000, it's $6,960, and the other one is $16,000. I thought, that is insane. That's so expensive. And then when I realized too, they're going out and doing engineering studies, and they're going out and doing, that's why it's so expensive, because they're doing all these studies that we've already had done. We had the engineering studies on the buildings, right, Chris?
Yes.
So we're going to pay this company to go out and do these engineering studies again when we already have them. I asked Keith, can't they just use our studies, and can't they use all the information that we already have and incorporate it into their audit or review? Because a lot of times if you go to a CPA firm and you ask them, you don't always have to have a full-blown audit. You can have audits for specific things. You tailor it to what you want. So I thought maybe, and I don't know if these companies, because now all of a sudden these companies are hot because of Miami and the building collapses. So now any building over 3 stories is required to have these reserve studies. So he's having a hard time getting some estimates. That's number one, because now all of a sudden they're doing all these independent studies all over. And now, because they're more in demand, their prices are going to be more expensive, and maybe they're not going to be as flexible. So a lot of it for me is the price. And I know that Keith also was interested in the software. I was wondering, can we just get the software? So maybe we just cut the price down that way. I don't know. I'm wondering if it could be tailored to make it, to have the document that you would like for the new person. Maybe we can make it so if they looked at anything, they just looked at the 4 Florida law mandated accounts. And, you know, and I do know that we are doing a good job with the finance committee. We haven't gone over budget on any of the accounts. The only one that's gone over budget so far is the roofing, and it's all because of COVID, and it's all because of the inflation. So that we have to readjust. And if it turns out that we don't do these reserve studies, I was talking to Jim, we can with Jim like reformulate and fix our schedules, and maybe with all these not our own inspections that we do, update our spreadsheets and our data, and kind of maybe make our own type of formal report. I don't know. So I think we're still looking into it, Keith, right? Can't we still, like, you can, that's where, but for me, it's the price. And I know we can take it out of reserves, but we're going to be asking people to pay more money in a special assessment to do roofs and whatever, and then I'm going to take $16,000 or $7,000 out of reserves. I don't know. I don't feel 100% good about it. I think so.
Does anybody else want to talk on this subject that's out there right now, or? No? Any other board comments on it?
One last thing.
When Chris leaves, we don't lose our info, and it's not like when the new guy comes in, everything's going to fall through the cracks and there's going to be no oversight. I'm not going to let the new manager go and do whatever he wants. I'm not going to let them cut down our reserves and say, okay, no, let's take this building infrastructure fund and let's do whatever we want with it. No, that's not going to happen.
All right.
And I would hope the board will stick up for me and help me in
Absolutely.
this endeavor.
I mean, I've got confidence in the finance committee and the budget committee both right now, so.
So you can make a motion and just deny it, or just don't make a motion at all, whatever you want to do.
I'll rescind my motion. How's
No,
that?
You made a motion just to discuss it.
Okay,
That's all
discuss
you
it,
did,
yeah.
Just to discuss it. So you can either make a motion and vote it down, or just nobody make a motion. And it's done, and you move on to the next category.
I just have a question. Are we going to ask Keith to see if you can get a modified one or any of that? Or this is just? No. Okay. Well, Sabrina brought that up about the software. Is that just a side thing to look at later?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Motion we don't accept it.
Okay. But for now, this is what we're voting on. Okay. Okay, thanks.
I make a motion that we vote on it now.
I second that.
Go ahead, Diane, roll call.
Keith?
I would vote for it.
Chuck?
Against it?
Bob?
Against.
Ron?
Against.
Pam?
Against.
Peggy?
I'm for it.
Diane? Against it.
5-2. Okay. That's done with.
Okay, let's move on to approve the board committees. Go down them one by one.
Yeah.
Okay. Budget, we're going to have Pam Kabansky and Treasurer Keith Keller. Do we want to vote on these? We vote this? We'll vote on
I
it?
vote all at the end.
Yeah.
And we'll vote them at the end, right?
Yeah,
You want to put this down so you can see it better?
I can see.
We got a copy here.
I got a copy of it here.
we've got a copy.
You want to vote on them one at a time?
Better off to just vote on it all at once, Chris. Or you want to do
As
it?
long as you don't see any changes, I mean, this is what you
Okay.
guys decided at the workshop meeting, and if everybody's still in favor of that, I
Okay.
don't see why you have to go line item by line item.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to do that. I'll just go down through them, and if anybody's got any issues with them, just let us know. That's all on the board. Okay, we've got salary review. We're going to have Pam Kabansky, Keith Keller, and Diane McIntyre. Maura will be Pam Kabansky. She'll be the liaison. Annual owners meeting is Peggy O'Keefe. She's the member. Finance will be Keith Keller. Planning is going to be Chuck Parks. Interview is going to be Diane McIntyre. Resolution and documents is going to be Diane McIntyre and Bob McCosey.
I got a question on that one.
Okay.
Okay, just I know it's a formality, but the board has to appoint a chairperson to the committee, and I would like that position as the chairperson of the Rules and Regulations.
It's yours.
Boy, that was quick. We meet on Sundays and
Right after church when I pray for you.
pray for us. Thank you.
Okay, we got mixed golf will be Diane McIntyre. Hearing liaison is Chuck Parks.
I'm gonna be busy.
Landscape is Peggy O'Keefe, and communications is Peggy O'Keefe. Nobody's got any issues, let's have somebody make a motion to vote on everybody.
I make a motion, we accept them as read.
I second it.
Okay, Keith?
Yes.
Chuck? Bob?
Yes,
Ron?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Diane, yes.
and the open positions will be posted on Channel 63, whether there's any openings, so if anybody had that and their ideas. So if anybody's interested in serving on one of the committees, you see on Channel 63, I think it's already on for the budget and the finance, I believe, but we'll be posting, each chairperson will be posting if they have any openings, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, if there's any openings, yeah. Owner's request to speak on non-agenda items. Anybody have anything to say about anything at all?
Uh-oh.
Anything at all, oh boy.
Keep it clean. Uh-oh, whoa, look at the hands go up.
Hang on one second, wait for the microphone. Okay, oh, yes, you do, you got to have it for YouTube.
Good morning. I'm Tom Andrews, 25E. I was approached by some residents to rename the gym after Jack Emer and to get a plaque. The family has been involved. They're all for it. And I was told we would have to get the permission from the board. Maura will pay for the plaque. Thank you.
I don't think that's a good idea. but-
Grab it, Bill, you got Jimmy Hensel.
Sorry to be so wordy. Jim Hensel again. My neighbor just bought the unit next to me, moved in, had a lot of construction work done. You have rules that are on the Channel 63 that you can't have any contract work done on Sunday. She had a painter come in. This is secondhand information, incidentally. Somebody, one of the residents, went over and said, you can't have any contractors here on Sunday. Chased them away. What I was wondering, and I know the answer, the reason for having no contractors work on Sunday, the noise. I'm sure the bristles on the brushes must have disturbed somebody. What is the real purpose?
We discussed that
I
last
think we
meeting.
discussed that a few different times. I don't see a purpose, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's the way it got voted in, so.
I'd like to say something. The purpose is you let one contractor come in no matter what he's doing, then everybody thinks that they can let their contractors come in, and it was passed to keep the noise and the people down. Now, if you want to paint your own unit inside on Sunday, you're allowed to do that, but contractors are not allowed in here on Sunday unless it's an emergency, and that's how it was voted on.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, you're right. They'd be coming in
I'm going to
right.
get back to that. I'm on board with that, with Jack.
I just want to know if we have more proof.
We can't vote on it this
So we
time.
can't vote on it, but I mean, you want to put that on the agenda, Chris?
For next,
For Jack Emmer? Yeah. We'll vote on it. I don't see a problem with that.
Just a quick reminder that we have a MORA meeting coming up this Monday, April 3rd at 7 o'clock in this room. Thank you.
Is that on 63, Sue?
We'll probably be on by the time we get out.
Okay.
If not, I'll have the flyers will be on.
No?
Carol Flutterback, Building 47. Going back to the grills, you asked about getting another grill. Does that large grill out there work at all? That big, huge thing?
Yes,
It does?
yes.
Okay. Do we have to get a gas tank from you, Chris, to use it?
Right now, that is not for use by residents.
it has been.
The big one has only been for parties, and the reason being is because, yes, you need a can of gas. So if people are taking gas, they're not getting it from us unless it's been a function.
I know, they were
Well,
supposed to.
people are
they were
using it.
supposed to use it, yeah.
I've seen people use it before. I can't see a problem with it, but
I
I don't know.
don't make the rules.
Okay, I didn't know if it worked or not, but my thought was if it didn't work, if we could somehow put two grills over there on that side where it's level. I know when I made the hot dogs for Bocce, a gentleman came and wanted to cook, and that was the only, I had the grill with the hot dogs. So, and if somebody's cooking a steak and somebody comes and wants to cook fish or something on the same grill, it's two different temperatures and things. And I just thought if there was a way of getting the gas over on that side where the large grill is and put 2 grills over there, that would be helpful.
Where the existing grill is right now, Chris, that's at a slope right now, isn't it, on the other side? On the right-hand side of it?
Yes, yeah, you couldn't get 2 on that side of the wall, no way.
Well, if they're not supposed to use the big grill there, why can't they put another one there that everybody can use? Or that would be possible? I mean, that's a possibility.
You want, you're the board of directors.
Yes, we can.
I'd like grills at all the patios.
No, we would have to have the gas line run over there. I think
Yeah.
that was one of the major reasons of why I didn't realize that everybody was using that.
No,
That was
not
really
everybody.
Only for functions, for mixed golf, men's golf, because there are tanks of gas. But the gas line is right there. I mean, it's right there on the wall. It could easily go under the sidewalk and have another stand put on it with a regulator.
That big grill,
That's not a big expense.
the big grill that's out there, is that a flat?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an iron,
Yes,
that's not a regular grill, it's a flat grill,
Flat top
yeah,
grill,
okay,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. It's frequently used as a table. Yeah.
Victor Brass, 59. How many times has either Chris or Ron, being the president of the board, been notified that there are multiple people wanting to use the grill at the same time? Or is this just an occasional thing, where we really don't need that second grill?
Yeah. In season, it gets used a lot, I know that. I know they come over on the other side, they've been using the other side a lot lately. Probably because there was an issue with this grill over here, but they both get used. I mean, I don't have an issue with it, but I mean.
Yeah, at the House Committee and the Social Activities Committee, multiple people did comment to it from both committees. If it was just a one-person comment to me, I probably wouldn't even brought it up.
I mean, if we're going to add grills, that would be the place to add it, not throughout the property, that's for sure.
If we were to add grill on the other side, are you talking 1 grill or 2? So that we would have a total of 3, or are we talking a total of 2?
We'll have one over on the other side, that'll stay there.
Yes, the one on the yacht club side will
Two
stay.
more over here, is that what you're talking, 2 more
Yes,
on this side?
2 over here.
Well, 2 over here total, I mean.
2 total on a clubhouse side.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Claire.
Are you saying then that the long grill out here cannot be used by the residents? I mean, if you're planning a party, a big group of people, of residents that are here, we can't use that grill out there? Even if we bring our own propane tanks?
No, that's exactly what it's for a social thing.
Okay.
So if you guys are having hey, we're having a big party or whatever, that there's 100 residents coming, that's what that grill is for.
Okay, all right, very good. Thank you.
Well, that's not even the issue, you just got to make sure that it's hooked up right and it's being used right, that's all.
You better not bring gas. Where are you storing it? Where are you storing it?
Next question.
Okay.
The storage unit.
One of the things I wanted to say about the grills, the other day had somebody out there that couldn't light the grill because they were looking for a lighter, okay? Which is fine, you can use the lighters on there, but they had the gas on. They came into the pool area and was asking for a lighter, so I went out with a lighter and the gas was on. When you light these things, light the lighter, put it into the burner, then turn the gas on. Okay.
So I happen to know that Rob Benny has already gotten the new grills in, and the new starter.
Oh, you did get a new starter?
It's on order, and it should be here within the next couple of days. So it will have the automatic lighter back on. So you will not have to use a lighter.
He's putting the burners in as we speak, and I talked to him out there, and he does have those orders, so they'll be coming.
Yes.
But just so everyone knows, if you're going to use a lighter, light the lighter, put it in there against the burner, and turn the gas on. Do not leave the gas on going around looking for a lighter.
And don't leave the lid down.
Yeah, don't leave the lid down, yeah, right.
Does anybody else have anything to? Hey, Judy.
Good morning, Judy Roberts, 17J. At yesterday's meeting, it was discussed that the 3 ponds that are going to be starting in May, and I don't recall, I was trying to look back through notes, is there going to be enough in the reserve in what we're paying through monthly maintenance towards the hot wire that will cover these ponds, or are we going to have an assessment this year?
We're going to have an assessment
for those
on it.
3 ponds?
I think about $68,000, that part of the assessment. There's going to be more involved in the assessment than just the ponds.
So is there an estimate or a timing
About
of when?
$68,000 on the ponds that we're
Okay.
going to need, around $68,000. We'd be in good shape if we did that.
Instead of 235,000, it'd be 68,000, right?
We don't know the exact amounts of everything. We're waiting for the insurance to come in. There's a few other things that are involved in it.
Do we know about timing of when the assessment might be coming through, just for people budgeting purposes? Is it like summertime, fall time, Christmas time? You know?
Okay, so what we're waiting for is the insurance to come in to see if we actually have enough money to pay for it. We're hoping we do. Once that comes in, which will be the beginning of May, is when we get the new premiums. It's going to be the very first thing the board does. Normally, we do the special assessment and we say it's due like 3 months later. Unfortunately, we cannot do that because of the insurance. It's going to be due immediately with a late fee added on after a certain amount of time. So by the end of May, you will know what the special assessment's going to be. By the end of May.
Okay, thank you.
The insurances are killing us. Carol, unless there's somebody else up there, Carol's back there.
Carol Flutterbach, 47F. I just wanted a clarification from yesterday, Chris. You said that if you had your internet and you wanted to continue working, you couldn't take your box back before you left, right? What about the phone? I mean, we don't care about the internet, but we want to keep our phone number. Does that mean we should not take our boxes back?
If you want to keep your phone number, you have to keep your phone turned on until it's ported over. Okay, Hotwire can't port it over. If it's turned off, you lose your phone number.
Okay, but, so I can't take my box back, right?
You can take any of the cable boxes back. If your phone is hooked to the modem, you leave the modem there. You can still shut the internet off and still have the phone. You don't have to have the internet.
So I can shut the TV and the internet off.
Well, the TV is ours, so that would just automatically
Well,
go.
okay, but we get, the extra channels.
The
but-
internet you can shut off. You just got to let them know you're going to keep your phone on. That's all.
But you're going to pay, I had the consultation the other day. I have AT&T, so that's a little different. But I asked the question of that, and she said that if anybody didn't have the consultation, if you do have a landline, they'll get the Hotwire representative will walk you through what to do and so forth. You need a copy of your bill and so forth, and they have it all ready. They'll take care of that end of it, but they said don't turn anything in. They told me don't turn anything in until it's actually working.
Anything to do with the phone.
Yeah, anything to do with the phone.
You want to make sure that your phone's going to stay on.
And if the phone is
Okay.
free for the first year, then $14.99 the next year, or whatever it may be. But it's free the first year.
Okay, and if we don't turn anything back and we come back in October, that's okay if we turn it in then?
You're going to get a fine. What is
Well,
that?
Okay, so
Yeah, 120
supposedly
days.
everybody's going to get a letter from Comcast this month telling you exactly what needs to be done. I had an owner that brought their stuff back. He came in to tell me that Comcast is giving you a 120-day grace period. So the contract ends at the end of May, so June, July, August, September. You have till the end of September to return your stuff without getting a fee for keeping it too long. So if you're going back, I would say take your Comcast boxes back to either Comcast or UPS. The stuff that you pay for through Monterey, which is all your TV stuff, take that back.
But let Comcast know that you want to keep your phone number or internet. Otherwise, they're going to knock it off.
No, I don't want the internet.
Okay, you can shut the internet off. You just leave the phone on. Let them know you're shutting the internet off. You're going to leave the phone on, which is obviously through your modem, I would think.
Okay,
Okay.
I don't know.
You just don't want to shut that off. And if it, go ahead. I'm going to.
Unless you don't care about just using the same phone number.
Okay.
No, we wanted to keep the same phone number.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chris is up there.
Let Chris see.
Just to clarify, if you have a landline, at least the way it was done when I had one with Comcast, they had a separate modem for that.
Okay.
And
technically, you're using the internet for your landline. So before you think you can shut
Right.
down internet, make sure you know how your phone works. If it's connected to a separate modem or it's connected to your modem, then you need to keep your internet up or
Yeah.
you'll lose it.
I know mine at home is connected right to my modem, so.
Okay, so you wouldn't need
But
to
it
keep
could
your
be
modem
different, like
active.
you said, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that's got to do with the phone, wherever it's connected, make sure you don't disconnect it, that's all. If you want to keep the number. Anybody else? Anything? Yeah, Carol.
Hello, Carol Leininger, 37E, and I do know how to pronounce my name. We just want to give you an update on the park. If you've gone by, you've noticed Beth and I slaving away in there, and we have the scars to prove it because we have some very unforgiving shrubs down here in Florida. We've gone through the park. We've done a lot of dividing of the plants that were already there. And we've had lots of plant sponsors, and we went out and we bought perennial plants. We're planning to turn this into a vase of color. So that day that you put 3 bowls and 3 ponds, you have a place to go and commiserate. But we're asking that no one just on their own goes and puts plants into the park, because we actually do have a plan. And we have things that move. How about it, Beth? We have very graceful plants over there, and we'd like to thank all the people who have contributed towards buying the new plants and for Ron coming over and cleaning up after us. Thank you.
Thank you. And that goes for anything on the property. Do not plant anything on the property unless you get a hold of Peggy's. Well, it's not Peggy. I don't know how that's going to work now, but that, the landscape committee or whoever's taking care of the park, don't plant anything unless you get permission. Anybody else? I just have a quick question. Sure.
Vicki Mullen, 20E. I was just wondering if one of the qualifications for the new property manager is going to be a booming voice.
We're going to give him a microphone.
Chris is leaving his voice. Vicki, Chris is leaving his voice when he leaves. He's leaving his voice here.
Anybody at all? Anything? Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn. Let's go.
I second it.